Are your curls lifeless and flat at the top but defined and perfectly coiled at the bottom? If so, watch Kaya's complete styling routine for tips on how to get your curls springing from the root with tons of volume as shown here. Alright, so the first step is we're going to make sure that the hair is wet, not soaking wet to the point where it's dripping all over the floor, but wet enough that I can get the styling products to glide through easily. And the products we're using today are all from the Curlsmith line. This first product I'm putting in is the Weightless Airdry Cream, which is a leave-in conditioner that does not weigh the hair down whatsoever. While it does have some moisturizing ingredients like castor oil and butters, it doesn't leave any noticeable residue in the hair. So I'm just going to go section by section, starting from the back, and rake it through, palm it through, and then comb it through with my easy detangler brush so that it is evenly distributed. Some of the products I've used in the past on Kaya's hair have been the same products that I use on my other daughter's hair, who has more 3C, 4A curls, whereas Kaya has more 3A, 3B curls. Those products made Kaya's hair soft but really flat at the roots, where her curl wasn't starting at the root and it was actually starting mid-shaft towards the end of the hair strand. It's very curly and defined. So these lightweight products work much better in Kaya's hair. And woo, the amount of money that we've spent on hair products in this house is atrocious. In any case, I finished putting in the leave-in conditioner on the right and left side of the head. Now I'm going to start with our next product, if I can find it. This is the Full Body Thickening Lotion. It's another lightweight product. It's very unique. It's a volumizing product for people with low density or thin hair that tends to get flat easily. I'm sure you've seen plenty of people with beautiful full curls at the bottom, but such dead waves that are flat against the scalp at the top, and it looks so awful, so they tend to end up just putting it in a bun or a ponytail instead of showcasing these beautiful curls. There's so many things that you can do to help this common issue, and one of them is to use a thickening product like this that will help to create volume rather than weigh the hair down. So I'm just palming, raking that through each section of the hair that I've also already applied the leave-in conditioner to. Again, I'm going to brush the hair with my easy detangler brush to evenly distribute this thickening lotion, and then we're going to start to add our next product, which is the Curlsmith Hydro Style Flexi Jelly, which on their scale of hold is a number 7. So it's a medium hold, and it's what we want if we're trying to achieve lightweight, voluminous curls that start from the root. I'm going to apply this in the same way that I've applied the previous two products, by raking and palming through. And one thing I'll mention is that some people who want more volume at the roots will avoid applying product directly to the roots and start maybe about an inch or two down the hair strand. However, Kaya's hair tends to be on the dry side and gets frizzy pretty fast, so I prefer putting the products directly on the roots. And as you'll see, I'm using the Denman brush to style the curls, grabbing the hair strands up and away from the hair root. I'm going to do something different today though. On one side of the scalp, I'm going to use our Denman brush, and the other side, I'm actually going to finger coil to see if there's any major difference in Kaya's curls between the two methods. Oh, listen to Kaya real quick.
How the Grinch told Christmas.
That's right.
Because the Grinch hates Christmas.
I know. Why do you think he hates it so much?
Maybe because he's a Grinch.
Because he's a Grinch. Alright, sorry, I was proud because she's been in speech therapy. She used to pronounce her C's as T's, so she just corrected herself when she almost said Twistmas instead of Christmas. Alright, back to business though. I'm almost done with this side. I've just been using the Denman brush to style the curls up and away from the root, and then I'll scrunch it up at the bottom, shake out the curls, and they'll naturally curl up during the drying process. At the front, I take a thinner section, go up and away from the root, but also carry it towards the back so the curls won't be in her face. However, curls dry are the way that they like to stay, so you have to be mindful of that during the styling and the drying process. Now that I'm finished with the right side, I'm going to start with the left. I've applied gel already in the same fashion, but I smoothed it down and straightened the hair strand to start the finger coiling process. If you don't smooth down the hair strand, then the finger coils will not be beautiful, smooth ringlets that you're trying to make, so they have to be elongated and smoothed out and then coiled around your finger to achieve the best look. Otherwise, it'll just be frizzy and defeats the whole purpose of finger coiling for defined curls. It's like the equivalent to curling with a curling iron before combing the hair smooth, or flat ironing without chasing the comb. It doesn't look good. Before you start, check to make sure this side of the head is still wet enough before finger coiling and spray it with water if it's dried at all. If it's prepped properly, smoothed out, and coiled around from root to end, then the ringlet should look something like this. So if you're doing it right, you'll keep doing the rest of the hair like this, and don't forget to hold it at the root to keep the tightness of the coil as you go. The downside to finger coiling is that it takes much longer than styling with the Denman brush.
It's taking so long.
So you see Kaya is not happy. Her hair is very long. At the end of the video, you're going to see if there's a major difference in the two sides of the head, and then you can determine whether or not you want a finger coil or use the Denman brush. So now we're all finished with the styling. We've done the Denman brush curls on the right side, finger coiling on the left side, and as of now, I can't see any major difference, but we'll see if that changes after we dry and scrunch out the crunch. Like I mentioned earlier, this line of the Curlsmith products is lightweight and does not cause a lot of buildup. However, if you start on hair that already has residue from your last wash and go, then you can't expect the products to do what they're supposed to do. You need to make sure to clarify your hair with sulfate-free shampoo and good conditioner before starting the styling routine. As I've mentioned in another video, I use the same shampoo and conditioner on all my girls, even with all their different curls, and it hasn't done me wrong yet. If you haven't already, you should definitely click the link to watch the wash day video to see what shampoo and conditioner I recommend and have been using for the last 9 months. It's made a big difference in my girls' curls. Alright, before we dry, I'm going to use the Curlsmith Miracle Shield Heat Protectant Spray, so I'm just going to spritz this all over the hair and scrunch it in. This is a protein-rich spray. It protects against heat, UV rays, chlorine, as well as hair strand breakage by making the hair more elastic. I use this every single time before I blow dry. And now we're going to start with the diffusing process. So since our goal is volume, I've found that the most volume at the roots is created when we start diffusing the roots first and leave the ends for later. I start by having her sit upright while the hair is still very wet and hover the diffuser over the hair without scrunching it up into the diffuser head yet. I've edited this video so that you're not seeing the full almost hour of me drying her hair because that would be way too boring to watch and to edit, but I spent about 7 to 8 minutes just hovering without touching. Then I can start on the ends. So I'll take a handful of curls and try with as little manipulation as possible to ball them up into the diffuser and hold it there for a few seconds. Once I've dried the ends a little bit, then I bring the diffuser from the end of the hair strand all the way up to the scalp and hold it on the top of the scalp for a few seconds in each section. I have my dryer setting on warm and the strength on low. High has caused more frizz than I want, and I'm not ever doing it on the cool setting as some people recommend, or I would be here forever. It takes Kaya probably about an hour to fully dry, so to do it on the cool setting would be way too time consuming. Once it's about halfway dry, you can start lifting the hair from the roots with your fingertips and use the diffuser to cup up the hair from the bottom to the root, then twist the diffuser just a tad so that the prongs lift the root even more. If you notice a curl that got out of place and became frizzy during this process, then you can apply a tiny bit more styling product. In this case, I used the gel only, and then restyle just that strand of hair by smoothing it out and then finger coiling it back into place. And then I continued diffusing. Alright, now we're halfway through the drying process, and I'm going to have her flip totally upside down to continue drying. This will be the position that her roots will be in once they're fully done drying, and it's what creates so much volume throughout the hair, especially at the roots. As I mentioned earlier, the way that your curls are dried are the way that they will lay and stay, so I still want her to turn from side to side while she's upside down so that the curls can have movement and be flexible. While she's upside down, I'm doing the roots first and then focusing on the ends. Alright, so now it's time to scrunch out that gel cast that I made using this Curlsmith bonding oil. I only put 1 pump in my hands, rub it together, and then start just breaking apart the big clumps of curls so that it's more voluminous. She is done with this whole process, as you can see by her face, but I did scrunch out the gel cast that the curls made with the oil on my hand after I broke these curls apart, and then I flipped her upside down again to diffuse for just another 5 minutes or so, and then I fluffed up the roots with a pick, and this is the final product. So the finger coils on the left leave longer ringlets, while the Denman brush curls are not as even, but they are still very beautiful. They do have a little bit more frizz, so there's a little bit more volume on that side, but it's so minimal that most people can't even notice. I just know her hair. So if you're looking to save time, I would definitely do the Denman brush styling, and although I think the curls looked great on both sides, the finger coiling does create a tad more definition, so go with whatever your personal preference is. Just a quick recap, if your child's hair needs some help creating more volume, make sure you start by using a clarifying sulfate-free shampoo. Use lightweight products, especially if you're using multiple. During the last half of the drying process, diffuse upside down and remember to move the head from side to side. Go to a curly hair specialist to get a curly cut that frames the face. Kaya hasn't gotten hers yet because she won't sit still, but hopefully this year we'll make it. And then make sure to put the hair in a high pineapple, sleeping with a silk bonnet or a pillowcase at night. If you like this video, please remember to like it and subscribe. Next week, my youngest daughter Zaria will be featured.